something you feel. And you know, rap, real. Who's coming with? Rap, real, something you feel. And you know, rap, real. Rap, real.
Señores, ¿cómo están todos ustedes? Bienvenidos sean a otra emisión más de su programa Entre Cheves y Consolas, mi querido Gama. Hoy es martes, creo. Y esta es una edición especial porque tenemos una entrevista. No lo promocionamos, no lo avisamos porque va a ser una entrevista grabada que vamos a subir al canal. Y pues gracias a la gente que se está dando la vuelta. Pero bueno, gracias por estar aquí. Mi querido Gama, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, hermano. Gracias a los que están presentes por acá. Agradezco mucho. Como bien dijo Fel ahorita, el asunto es que esto va a ser grabado en YouTube para la entrevista. Gio, saludos, hermano. César, Eli.
Un abrazo a Gio.
Saludos. Tuvimos que moverlo porque es un invitado que tenemos que, aparte que pues como jugador y como stream y lab monster, monstruo de laboratorio ahí, pues hubo que ajustarnos un poquito al horario. Es algo que estamos practicando Felo y yo, el tratar de traer gente también de otros países y demás, aunque nos mueve toda la agenda por completo, pero está muy padre en todo que conocemos perspectivas y puntos de vista diferentes. De hecho, justamente tengo un par de preguntas que voy a hacer con KIZZIE sobre cosas que en México tenemos una forma de ver y a lo mejor de allá tienen de otra forma, ¿no? Sobre todo abordando el tema Guilty Gear y el tema de la COF 15 que recién acaba de pasar la beta, ¿no? Entonces, y de hecho, pues tenemos la ayuda de alguien que obviamente sabe 1000 veces más que yo sobre Guilty Gear y sobre cualquier juego de Arc Systems. Obviamente, nuestra queridísima Haseo.
Un placer, chicos. Muchísimas gracias por una vez más tenerme en la casa de Entre Cheves y Consolas, ¿eh? Muy bien. Y además, pues la verdad nos las vamos a pasar muy bien porque sí, efectivamente, nuestro invitado, pues talla internacional de jugador de juegos de pelea. Por eso, poco a poquito, si no lo conocen algunos chicos, no se preocupen. Con esta entrevista se van a dar cuenta de muchas cosas, va a valer la pena y justamente por eso, pues, ¿a quién tenemos de este invitado tan especial, chicos?
Perfecto, pues tenemos que a KIZZIE Kay, que a veces se cambió el nombre a Kay.
KIZZIE, how are you? Welcome.
Well, I can't do a sick introduction in Spanish like you guys, but I can say, what's up, everyone? How's everybody doing today?
Man, we're very happy to have you here because, well, first of all, I'm a fan of your channel from some time already, for almost like a year right now. Yeah, a year, so almost.
Yeah.
Because I'm not new on Guilty Gear, but as I have said on previous episodes, and I think most of our chat here have the same feeling. We are not very technical on the game on Guilty Gear because, like, very much fan base right now that is getting on the game is new for Guilty Gear. This is a very friendly Guilty Gear for beginners like us
Yeah.
to take on.
Yeah.
Also, we know all the hate that comes with that for all players that say this is for
Mm-hmm.
noobs, this game sucks. I
Yeah.
will stick with other Guilty Gears, etc. Okay,
Yeah.
we all know the story.
Yeah.
But the thing here is that people know you, people know the lab monster you are. Uh, we have some previous interview, for example, with Lord Knight about also Guilty Gear. I wanted to ask you some questions about other games and also on personal stuff. Here, Haseo has some questions for that. So I will leave you to her. Haseo, adelante.
Okay.
First of all, thank you so much for accepting KIZZIE Kay. It really means a lot to us. So thank you.
Well, I mean, I can't say no to a fellow peer. You know, I used to watch, and I remember your run at Evo, you know, stuff like that. So
Oh,
it's a peer thing. You know, it's out of respect. We both play the same game, and I know you always mean well. You always want to do a lot for your scene. So I feel like I wanted to contribute with that as your efforts to doing something nice. So
oh my
don't
god.
worry anything about it. Just look at it as just like something. We just want to do this because we enjoy things like this.
Of
Yeah.
course, of course. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you, KIZZIE. So I want to start with the tale, with the story. How did you enter this world of the fighting games? How, when, and why? We want to know, KIZZIE.
So being where I grew up in a very bad neighborhood. So being in a bad neighborhood, being out for a certain time is very dangerous. And just being a kid and always wanted to like go out. I used to go out and play basketball. And sometimes when I wasn't playing basketball, I used to go to the arcades and I used to play on the Neo Geo cap. So I'm a huge fan of like Metal Slug and
Oh,
like
yeah.
King of Fighters, and also it's a soccer
mhm.
game I forgot they played, but it's like those three games that I used to rotate on the Neo Geo caps. I used to play three of those games a lot, and it was just one of those things where like I always like stood out of trouble, but I was one of those kids that when you hit the high score in first place, there was two tags that people had. It was AAA and ASS. So I used to be like I used to get top, and I used to put AAA or ASS for second, things like that. And it naturally brought competitiveness because
Of course.
people around also try to beat your high score and things like that. So staying out of trouble and also like just being in that environment, you naturally start building like a little like competitiveness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically I've started since I was a kid. My
God.
sister, my older sister used to play video games also, and
Oh.
yeah, and again like the arcade environment kind of like built me into like fighting games. So I really like fighting games because it was pretty cool, and things like that. So basically being a fighting game kid fan, as you grow up and you learn about things like competitive fighting games, you start wanting to get into like the scene and like what's it about and start studying, and something becomes like an art. Now you want to make it as like a skill, and then you want to polish that skill and make it into a profession. And I was blessed to be able to do that, so I'm very grateful, honestly. And I
Yeah.
have to give a special shout out to like my dad always giving me money
Oh.
to go to the arcades.
Your dad give you money here in Mexico. Our dad don't give out money to go to arcades. We have to stole the money to go to arcade.
Yeah, my dad. So my dad he was a special person, and the way he gave me money, he was like, he used to give me like a good amount of money, and he was like, you need to stretch this out for 2 days. So because I was always in the arcade, I never stretched the money out for 2 days. I always stretched it for like 2 hours, 3 hours.
At the most.
At the most, yeah. Depending how well I did. Like if I do well, then I could stretch it out. But chances are beating your own high score, or like trying to beat somebody else's high score, or like somebody that randomly shows up and want to play you. Sometimes I might lose. I put that little quarter in. I'll be like, hey, 4 quarters. Can I get my 4 quarters? Just give him the $1 and keep playing and stuff like that. But I got to give it to him. And also, even when I wasn't in arcades, he bought me like consoles and stuff like that. Like this is a little bit off topic, but I actually stole from my dad. Right. So one day I actually stole I know I was a misguided kid, but I was a kid, right? So
we have that in someone.
I actually stole from my dad. I stole $130 from my dad. Yeah, I stole $130 from my dad, and I did it strategically though. I did it like
okay.
It was very strategic. Like I took like $10 one day, and then like 3 days later I took like 30.
Oh my god!
And like another time I took like 40. And for some reason, I guess my dad didn't recognize it. I was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess this works out. So I was like, all right, I cashed out. Let me hurry up and go home. So I went because my mom and dad were separated. So I was like, let me hurry up and go back to my mom's house. So I went and I bought me a console. And when my dad passed away, my stepmother was like, hey, your dad actually knew that you stole money from him. And I was like, wait, what? He knew about that? He was like, yeah. He was like, when you stole from him, he thought to himself that it's time for him to start getting an allowance. And this is he's getting to that age where he's growing, that he needs to have like an allowance so he can learn how to like save and buy things for himself. And when my stepmother told me that, I understood like so much, and like I loved him so much for that, because he could have just like rashed out, but instead he just said that it's time for him to start learning how to spend money and save money. So what he did? He gave me an allowance, and then he also bought me another console, and he just didn't say anything about it, and he actually just let that like stay between whatever until all the way to his grave. And that really showed a lot of how much he cared about me and how much he cared about me being happy and doing things I wanted to do. And obviously I had to learn all of this after he passed, but just having that type of mentality, it carried so much to me and like what I do, and it grew me a lot in like a lot of ways and things like that, and just how to take things, discipline, and trying to learn and understand rather than ration out on things you don't understand and things like that. And you could kind of articulate it in fighting games. If a situation that you don't understand, don't lash out and like give up. Just try to like take time and let it like learn through experience and try things out and things like that. I know I kind of went all over the place, like I'm just like flying all over, but there's a lot.
Man,
that's a way story.
Yeah, that was deep. Also,
that's so wholesome.
Deepest respect for your dad. As a dad, here I am a dad of 2 kids. I know the hard things of life, with trying to teach our kids the best way from the best ways of life, but it's hard. It's really hard. More so now in these days and age. But kudos to your dad. Shout out to him.
Really. Yeah. Rest in peace to him.
Yeah, it's amazing. How can you learn this type of life lessons, of course? And my father helps me too. My father accompanies me to the tournaments, and you have seen him, right?
Yeah, he's always your number one supporter.
Yeah. Thanks to him, that's why I start like to play competitive in fighting games, because he believed in me. My mother did not. But my father is like, if you want to do it, go ahead. If you feel happy, you feel confident, do it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
and that's how I enter. So I feel it, of course. And with that, KIZZIE Kay, which is your favorite fighting game?
Ooh, that's a hard
And why?
That's a hard
And
one.
why? Yeah, I know, it's hard.
I think my favorite game of all time. Can I have a tie?
Yeah.
Guilty Gear, Revelator, and Blaze Blue. Blaze Blue's
Blaze Blue.
Chrono Phantasma. Those are my favorite games. I love those games so much.
Why? Why Guilty Gear, or why Blaze Blue?
The reason why I like Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, those 2 games, I really enjoy the unique character designs for everyone, and like being able to like kind of like have so many like variable things that are so much possible outcome. Like I feel like in those games that even though their matchup is like really hard, there's so many situations where you could like like flesh out something, and there's always like variable opportunities to like turn things that are really hard to like easy, and like all it takes is just a lot of like discipline and just like a lot of effort, and it taught me a lot of discipline, especially with the characters that I played. It taught me a lot of discipline and a lot of things, and like knowing when not to be greedy here and kind of like take a little bit here. Like it taught me a lot of just like picking and choosing when it's good to like go, like cash out, or when it's good to save. And also keeping that mindset while also fighting against various different characters. And every character felt like a whole new roller coaster. It was like, I played one character like Goliath. I played Johnny as like hell. It's just like there's so many things, and it's cool, and I really like the things like that in the game. So.
This I think Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue has this kind of characteristics in a specific, and all the beautiful design, the music, the mechanics. So I feel the same about it, and I think everyone always has this question, KIZZIE, is what advice can you give to all the people that is trying to play fighting games, how to learn, how to play, how to enter into this world?
I think honestly the best advice I could give, and this is just a genuine advice, is I feel like a lot of people put a little too much expectations on themselves because they look at somebody else, and I think that comparing yourself to somebody when you have no experience in anything is a sign of losing, and you're already you're already setting the bar very low. And I always say that every person should set the bar high for themselves. And when I mean high, so high that you can't even see the bar. And the only time you see the bar is when you reach there. And then when you see that bar, you want to throw the bar even higher and reach further than what you thought you can just sit at. And I just feel like if you do that, you won't get complacent. You won't worry about other people. You'll have more enjoyment of it, and you'll start being able to see a lot of like progression that you naturally wouldn't see unless you until you start like comparing yourself to people. And it's not about the other person. Like, this other person's doing well right now, but like focus on you. Focus on your pace, because people learn differently. Some people are fast learners.
Exactly.
Some people are very slow learners. Some people have fighting game background as a kid. Some people wake up one morning and was like, I just want to learn fighting games. Like you're playing catch up in so many variables. You can't like push yourself so hard because of somebody else that looks like they're doing well. Like, don't compare yourself. And I feel like that's been always an issue in every scene. It's like people are saying like, why can't I be like this person? And it's like, why do you want to be like this person? Why can't you be something better than that person?
Of course. And the first problem is you get frustrated, and then you stop playing. Yes, that is the most common thing that happened to fighting games. I know that feel. Thank you so much, KIZZIE. Adelante, Gama.
I want to bold something there, because there is some line there that gets blurred on the scene, because people think that competitive means that you have to compare with someone because you are better or worse than them. So
Right, exactly.
it gets really blurred, the line between them. It's it's very different to see a pro player, a top player playing right now, and you say, I suck. Well, yes, if you compare to him, yes, you suck. But if you compare to someone who has never used a fighting stick, or never have played a fighting game in their life, you are a top player for them. So it, being competitive, it's different to compare to someone to try to grasp your level on that.
Yeah.
I think it's natural to compare from time to time, but on a healthy way, not on a toxic relation with that.
Yeah, and I think the thing is about it is like, and I'm going to touch on what you said because it's very important. Because it's very important of how healthy learning and healthy growing. So I'll give you an example. When I was young and I got into the scene, I said that I wanted to be like these specific people, and when I got to that point, it didn't feel good because it wasn't what I envisioned. I was like, oh, this is actually terrible. Like here is bad. So then I set my bar so low and I plateaued. And it took me like 6, 7 months to kind of like break out of that plateau because I didn't have any like goals. Like I was just like floating like this. Like I was floating. My head was just above the water, but my body was still underwater. But my head was just still like above the shore, and that's not really a good lifestyle that I want to live because, like I need my body to live also. I can't just live with just my head just breathing. I need to get out of that type of lifestyle. And as I slowly start growing my mind and start focusing on what's important and things that are going to help me out and my foundation out long term, as I had to start learning what it means to do what I'm doing and take it to a further level than most people did. And then I learned that the people that I used to look up to, I'm not going to say everybody, because some people that I still look up to they set the bar really high, and I just want to be able to see that bar. My goal is to see that bar so I can push harder, you know? So I set a healthy goal like that. I want to see how high that bar is so I can throw to the next set, so I can set the next bar. That's a healthy mindset because my whole goal is not to compare myself to them. I just want to see what they did so I can learn. And then when I learn from what they did, I throw my bar even higher. And then I start climbing up and see what the next person can bring up from the bottom. You know what I'm saying? So to add on a little bit to that, I feel like a lot of people, they don't really use healthy metrics to like push themselves up. They focus on so much what other people think of them. They focus on so many people what other people feel about them. And when you care so much, like you have to understand that all it takes is you having a bad day, and everyone forgets about you. And once they forget about you, all of that serotonin that you had build up and all that like adrenaline that is going, you're going downhill, you're having a bad day, you don't feel happy, you're depressed. And it's like all that is added on because you're so built on what other people make you feel. And one day somebody could make you feel bad and then your day is ended. So why put so much energy on what other people think about you? Whether if you could wake up in the morning and tell yourself that I'm going to do something unique today, I'm going to try to whiff punish today, or I'm going to try to practice not bursting bad. Like, why you gotta let somebody else tell you to do that? Why somebody else gotta tell you, oh, your bursting is great, knowing damn well your burst is not good, but you're gonna sit there and listen to it because it feels good, and you're letting your feelings and your emotions dictate how you're supposed to actually improve, rather than telling yourself to be disciplined and applying the rules and the fundamentals and learning that so you can improve on the things that people tell you that you're good at. You know what I'm saying? Like, how about do the work? Like, if somebody tell you you're good at this, are you really going to believe that you like? Did you put in the work to be as good, or people are just saying that because it's a compliment? Compliments feel good. Compliments feel good. But I know as a person that like I know a compliment is like it's only reminding me that you're doing that. That what they complimenting you is you're doing that. And that tells me that I just need to work harder if somebody's compliment. It's like, oh, your hair is nice today. Okay, well, that means that I just got to cut my hair even more nicer. Something like that. Oh, your whiff punishes are great. Okay, I need to focus more on just doing that. I need to add more spice into the soup. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm not going to get complacent. I'm not going to sit there and just be like, oh, I got one compliment. Oh, life's good. I'm just going to kick my legs back and, drink my beer and, be chilling. Agreed. And it sucks because nowadays people are so much focused on what other people care about, what they see, and it's not about what they want to do. Like for me, like I want to see myself draw something nice. I don't care if people like it or not. I mean, obviously people like it. I appreciate it, but my goal is for me to like it. Like for me to wake up in the morning and see something that I created and it's a masterpiece. I want to create a masterpiece for me. So, yeah, I wanted to make sure that it's mine, and I am like, I can wake up in the morning and look at this and say, I put in mad work for this, and I've earned it. Not deserve, but I've earned it. You know?
Esa es la diferencia de los top players como KIZZIE y los humanos terrenales como nosotros. Totalmente la mentalidad es lo que hace la diferencia absoluta, güey.
Está hermosa la forma de pensar.
Sí,
It's
yo
beautiful,
casi lloro.
Because, we're talking about you, ¿cómo se puede decir?
Your way of
pues
thinking.
la manera, the way of thinking. About the life, because it's not only for the fighting games. It's like you can apply that all you say in the real life. Yeah. So it's very deep. I think so.
Yeah, you know, like honestly, like for example, like again, like another thing when I was when I was younger, when I was more younger and more ignorant, and the reason why I call myself ignorant because I didn't like I had like the knowledge, but the pieces wasn't together.
Yeah,
but the way I foresaw it was incorrect. It was very bad. It was very unhealthy, and it was very tunnel vision, and like it was like it wasn't healthy around me. It was healthy in terms of like my goals, but it wasn't healthy in terms of like my environment. And I learned so much of how important it is to have a strong foundation for your goals to be healthy. Like your goals cannot be healthy unless you have a foundation. And I learned that for it. I truly strongly stand by that. You have to have a healthy foundation to be able to do the things that you want to do. And because if you don't, then it's never going to be healthy. You know, you're going to never have somebody tell you to focus, like take some time off. You're never going to have somebody to tell you what you're doing is right or wrong. You know, you're always going to think you're right, and you're always going to think you're perfect, and you're always going to think, I don't need to sleep, or I don't need to do this, or I don't need to do that. I need to just do that. You ain't going to have nobody let you know. You're not going to have anything. You're just going to have yourself, and that naturally is going to hurt yourself. It's going to hurt yourself. It's going to slow you down. It's going to slow the progress, because once somebody do tell you that you're doing wrong, then you got to walk 5,000 steps back, 500,000 steps back. And nobody wants to backstep.
Nobody wants.
I had to backstep. You know, so you know, for example, like I got off a little like topic, but basically, when I was like competing in my local scene, I got frustrated because people didn't want to improve like I did, and that's such a terrible mindset. But at that time, because I was young, I was so ambitious. I was like, I couldn't control my motivation. I couldn't control my ambition. I just wanted to I was like, nah, I just want to do this. I want to do this. And it, like, people started, like, kind of, like, being hesitant around me. And I didn't understand. And, you know, I was like, oh, they're just weak. You know, like, I was just, like, so straight, like, just bad mindset, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of, like, my worth ethic, it's good. But again, my surroundings is not healthy. So that even though my intentions of getting and improving was good, that doesn't mean that the way of I was going by it was healthy for my environment. It wasn't healthy for anybody besides my own goals. So I was like being selfish, right? And being like a leader of your scene, you can't just always just think of like, you can't just think like that. You got to think about like the whole picture. Not just one little bulletin. You understand? So as I realized and took a step back, what was really important, I had to walk 500,000 steps backwards. And, you know, once I kind of like found, you know, where I needed to stop walking backwards, I started moving forward again. And, you know, doors from different angles started opening up. And because I have that experience of what it looks like, you know, for being like that, I learned now how to apply all of my decision making in and out the game of what's important long term. Yeah. And that's where I kind of am today. And I'm just kind of investing into that, just making sure everything stays as healthy as it can be, you know. And I just try to make sure you know, it's not only with my foundation. I mean, part of my foundation is making sure other people's foundation that are kind of doing the same thing I'm doing, healthy as well. So, you know, like, for example, like this is a great opportunity because I want to do it just because I want to kind of get connected with everyone, you know. Like, I don't want people to just be like, oh, like, I know this guy, and like, you know, don't even, you know, I don't even get a chance to talk to you, you know, like, I at least get a chance to talk to and interact with the scene here. Obviously, we're on different time zones, language barriers, things like that. But this moment right here, I at least get to touch with the people that who also take time and support me. I feel like I should do the same. I should take the time and support you guys. It's only that's the only way we stay healthy, right?
Oye, este
So
cabrón me va a hacer llorar, cabrón, en cualquier
Sí.
momento.
We interrupt you because fellow here says you're gonna make him cry.
oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's right, that's right.
It's cool because it's really hard to find that mindset.
Yeah.
Not only I can say in the States, I can speak from here from Mexico, but it's hard. There are people that have that mindset. There are people and friends that I myself included, trying to grasp that type of healthy mindset, because not only the competition on the games, but how can I put this? The past 2 years with the pandemic made that human side of the human relationship, that relationship that was on a par when you go see someone face to face. You don't have to. Here we are getting to that already. Here we're starting to get face to face, seeing face to face again, but we didn't have that for 2 years. So how can you embrace life and not trying not to lose that side of that human side to interact with other people? I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah,
So
honestly, it goes back to what I was saying, man. Strong foundation.
yep.
You having a strong foundation. Like why I was also walking 500,000 steps. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of people that I thought I was close with, and
Yeah.
when you start focusing on different things that is you feel is productive overall. You start sacrifices, and you start things start changing. Your environment start changing. So I just feel like having a strong foundation that is also on the same vision as you will always keep you healthy. It'll keep you sane. It'll keep you on the right track. And the best yet about it, you won't feel like it's you. You won't start blaming yourself for things for thinking like that. You're gonna start focusing on like, oh, I know what's healthy for me, and I'm just gonna start doing these things, and I'm gonna keep my mind, fresh. I'm gonna make sure that I don't self hate, things like that, or like, like blame things that is out of your control.
Yeah, that's some ego problem there because
Yeah,
you think you have them in your control and they are not.
yeah, exactly. Sometimes I mean, and we're human, so sometimes it's okay to try something that you thought was the right thing, but the best part is learning that when you do make a
Yeah.
mistake and just own up to it, and that's the hard part. And owning up to that, it's part of it's a part of the segment of taking your pride away and just setting it down for a side for a bit, and it also builds you as a stronger person too, because you start understanding like, oh, I need to start acknowledging these things and things like that, and that will gradually start making you feel more better because you're not afraid, and you're more confident and brave about what you feel, and you won't start feeling down as much. I hope that helped. I don't know if
No,
I did.
that helped a lot,
Okay.
my man.
Yeah.
Good.
That
Okay,
helped a
good.
lot. That was some kind of mind bomb, right? Really, right there, because
For me,
um,
yes.
yeah, for him, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree on that. I I just lost the word for that because yeah, because right now on the scene, taking the last part of what you were saying, uh, there is a problem with fighting games that really have to be addressed if you want to be competitive on the scene. Is taking responsibility of your own actions. This
Yes.
that so-called salt, because she's or he's using a so broken character. Well, you can pick that character too. You don't want to pick that character, you can try to learn the match. There is
Yeah.
no there is well there is healthy ways to approach the learning curve of any fighting game, but there is also salt included in there because
Yeah.
sometimes it gets to you. You're
Yeah.
human, like you said.
Yeah.
You are human.
So
It gets to you.
it's one of those things where, like, you know, I think it's okay to be salty. It's about how you articulate yourself
Yeah,
in
keep
that
it in the
state.
game.
Like, yeah, like for example, I had a training partner back in Rev 2. I don't have a training partner in Strive like I wish I did. Well, I kind of have building one up, kind of building a relationship, which is really, really great. I actually have two. I actually have three. I lied to you guys. I actually have four training partners. I actually lied to you guys. It was, yeah, look, see, look, you know, I actually have four training partners in Strive. And honestly, those four players, like, you know, and when we talk, well, I haven't gotten to that point yet because the game is still fresh. But in Rev 2, my training partner was a Kai player, and every time we was done talking, like every time we were done in the set, all we did was go after how bad this matchup was. So like, you know, like, so you can only imagine that we'll play like a first to 30, and then, you know, we'd be like, all right, we're gonna go to 30, and then we're gonna go eat, and then we don't like how the last 30th game goes, so we're like, all right, first to 5, and then it goes to 7, and then it goes to 15, and then it's just like, so, and then after we get up, you're like, oh, so you think this is a bad matchup? And I'll be like, yeah, this matchup is hard. I was like, can you explain to me why it's hard? And then, you know, it builds up, the salt is starting to rise. Can you explain to me why it's hard? But, you know, we talk and we vent out the frustration. But one of the things that I always respect about it is because we both care, we're both passionate, and we both acknowledge that. You know, after we're done, you'll be like, yo, you want something to eat? And then, like, you know, we talk about it after food. After the salt went down, we talk about food. And then, like, we talk about the match. And, like, you know, I feel like a lot of people, what happened is when somebody is, like, venting out their frustration, they get mad at the player. And it's like, it's not mad. It's not the player's fault that they like this character. And the character happened to be broken. You know, like, you know, I have a friend that played Elfo. And like I literally despise that character. And every time I play him, I'd be like, "Yo, f your character," and he'd be like, "I know," and I'd be like, "Yeah, you better know." And like, you know, I'm just coming at his character. I'd be like, "Look at you doing this. Look at you doing that." But you know what's crazy? I acknowledge him that he was one of the best players in the world at that time. And he was one of the strongest players that actually pushed me as a player. So even though like I had that salt on his character, I always respected him as a player, and that's Lost Soul, by the way. And like I always respect, I always respect him as a player, and I knew that he was always like he was dominant, and that confidence it made me want to work harder, and like I was driven and I was motivated by that. I was so motivated by that. And like it was to the point where I tried new strategies. Like I was doing so many things, and like he just pushed me to that level, and I'm always grateful for him for doing that.
Yeah.
You know, LK, he was one of the players that I told him, I was like, yo, I need Milia practice, and he sat there, he put the Milia practice, and you know, pushed me to that next limit, and you know, things like that. Like I was driven by that. So even though I always make like jokes and jab about their character, I never personally went for the player, because I know that all the player is doing is just playing their character. And you know, I may crack jokes about the things and the decision makers that they do, and like, you know, it's to some degree I am telling the truth, because you know that is my truth. But it's nothing wrong with the person playing that character. And you know, it's up, even though some characters kind of get enabled of doing certain things, it's up to me as a player to try to figure it out. And I think when people get frustrated at like a player, remember that it's not them in the game, and they're not doing it to you in real life. Remember that it's just a match, and you have to just accept the loss, and you know, like think about it, pause and reflect. You know, like if you feel like you're going to explode, pause and reflect on something that you're going to say, and make sure that if it's going to say something, it's towards the game and not the player. And there are some players that will take something that you say in game to the heart, and that's out of your control. You know, unfortunately, that's out of your control. And you can try to remind them that, hey, I'm only saying this because of this matchup. This has nothing to do with you. I'm not telling you to stop doing what you're doing. I'm just letting you know this is what's frustrating. I'm saying it out loud. And, you know, people who take offense, they should respect people at least talking and saying it out loud and not just holding it in. I think it's very healthy for communication. I don't know why people are so afraid of like communication, even if communication seems more intense. You should look at it as just people expressing themselves differently. You know, like there's some people that are like extremely angry when they like lose, but I know like let them rest a little bit. You know, let them ease out. Don't say anything like that could like trigger anything crazy, but just just like yeah, man, just walk it off. Like it's hard. Just kind of like cope with them a little bit, and then start talking to them and things like that. But there's some people that are just extremely rage and they throw the controller and stuff like that. You have to control yourself. I feel like if you can't control yourself with like throwing stuff and things like that, you're going to like not only hurt yourself, but you're also going to harm your image. But you also could hurt somebody else. Like there's a story that happened back in Arc Rebel, back in 2019 before the pandemic. There was a player from Canada got so mad and threw the stick and threw something, and what happened was it bounced off the table and it hit a player in the face while they were in a tournament. And it was when the last chance qualifier. So this was a last chance qualifier match, yeah. And it hit the person, and this person was from Asia. So the person just got hit in the middle of a tournament, and they had to pause the match. And then what sucks is that person lost afterwards. And then, because of your anger and you doing that, you actually did something unintentionally, but your actions was intention. Like your action was intention, but you hitting somebody was unintentional, but that was part of your action. And you got to hold yourself accountable for that. And that's all, that stuff like that is why you should control yourself. You should have a lot of control, self-control. If you feel what?
No, sorry, go.
If you feel like you can't control yourself, being in these intense situations, then maybe you should take the steps of figuring out how to control yourself before you get into that situation.
Yeah.
Pero sí es a veces complicado, o sea, lo que dice KIZZIE, de que también el hecho de que escurra demasiada sal y que muchas veces interpretes el hecho de que si te ganan, vas contra el jugador y no contra el querer mejorar el matchup, porque obviamente hay juegos que hay muchos matchups que son complicados para ciertos personajes. Por ejemplo, mi querido Gama, que sufre con Alex, y pues ese tiene muy malos matchups, pero imagínate llegar a un punto en el que seas agresivo con la otra persona con la que estás jugando. Eso ya es totalmente algo fuera de control. Y yo creo que sí hay personas también en nuestra comunidad, y a lo mejor nosotros mismos, cuando estamos en nuestra casa y nadie nos ve, es cuando soltamos toda la sal y agarramos el control y lo tiramos a la chingada. Yo creo que eso es normal, pero hace ratito vi yo un comentario acerca de que decía, es sano tirar sal, o sea, es sano tener un poquito de sal, de sodio en tus venas, pero también es parte de tu conocimiento, de cómo conocerte hasta qué límite puedes llegar a poder ser tolerante, porque aparte los juegos de pelea son muy complicados. The fighting games, KIZZIE, are very complicated. It's not for all, I think so.
Yeah. I feel like it takes a special type of cookie to play fighting games, especially if you're trying to get really good. But these companies feel like that everybody can try to get a chance, and I think it's a double-edged sword. But to go back to what I was going by, it's like I just think that one of the most important things is like understanding and acknowledge that some things take time. Some things take time to learn. Like for example, like the way I vent out my frustration is I like make a joke, and I just go in on a joke. And that's like my way of like venting the frustration, and I turn it into like a positive thing. Like most joke it has some truth in it. So like I just go off. Like for example, like I when I first started learning the Nago matchup, I used to be like, wow, man, like all these Nago players, like they actually are just like Cell. And they was like, oh, you think like Cell from Dragon Ball? I said, yeah, one cell. You have a one cell brain, and it's just a long green brain, and that's all you guys do. Is just do this one move and blah blah blah. Just joking around, right? As I start learning and stuff, I used to throw like side comments like, "Oh man, here we go! Like here we go! It's Nago time! It's always your turn! Things like that." And like I say things like that, but it's never like it's never like, oh, this player's stupid, or like, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
player's like you know, like making like, you know, like, oh, you're just brain dead. You know what I'm saying? I always say like things like, oh man, this character is like could enable you to do brain dead decisions. You know, and I just say character. This characters allow you to. Your
Yeah.
character allow you to.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know, like sometimes when I do play, my competitive side is like, oh, I will sometimes be like, oh, this was a bad decision here, or you're making a bad choice here. But I would never call anything like, oh, you're terrible or things like that. It's like it's like acknowledging like, oh, this was a bad decision.
Always respectful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, you know, like you could like there's some things that like you could just like say, like, for example, like, oh, like, I don't think jumping was a great idea here, that was a bad jump, this is that. But it's all in game. It's never like you're a bad player, you know, you're a dumb player, or you're you know things like that. Unless somebody come at me, then, you know, obviously I'll start telling how it is. But, you know, I don't think I ever had to get to that point, and I'm glad that I don't have to get to that point, because, you know, I I'm not about that, you know, like, because once I get going, I don't stop. So I would like to not go. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, basically, yeah. So I just think that a lot of people just naturally just need to acknowledge that, you know, whatever you feel, it's in the game. It's not about towards the player. Yeah, the player could be playing absolutely crazy like a madman and things like that, and it's okay to say it. Like, yo, you playing like an absolute madman. Why are you playing so crazy? You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to say it like that, but, you know, don't like hurt their feelings. You know what I'm saying? And like, and when I mean hurt their feelings, like, don't try to like make them feel like miserable. Like, you know, some people, you know, I feel like there's people forget that not everybody is playing the game to be like the best player in the world.
Yeah.
You know, some people are just playing because they like the game. And you have to, like, accept that, regardless of what decision they make. You have to accept that.
Perfecto. A mí sí me ha tocado, ahorita que lo está diciendo KIZZIE, a mí me ha tocado gente con la que yo he jugado, y si te dicen, oye, ¿por qué hiciste este salto a lo estúpido? ¿O por qué saltaste así? ¿O por qué estás botoneando? ¿Y por qué? Y te lo dicen de una forma en que negativa, según ellos están negativa, y lo sientes. Porque si te fueran a decir un consejo de, oye, mira, no lo hagas así porque cada vez que lo haces puedes tener esta repercusión, no, lo hacen con el afán de decir, güey, eres un pendejo, ¿ah? Y lo que dice KIZZIE es real, o sea, sí, es real, o sea, hay que tener también el tacto de poderte sentar con la gente que también, como dice él, no todos van a jugar para ser competitivos, unos juegan porque les... el tigre, unos juegan porque pues les nace jugar y quieren hacerlo. I don't know if you know, KIZZIE, in Japan, in the office of some office, they have like a room with a punching bag. Maybe we need a punching bag in a tournaments. I think this is a good idea.
Yeah. Just put them in a quiet room. And, you know, after one round of fighting May, you just be like, oh, I need a 2-minute break, and you just walk to the quiet room, just start swinging.
It doesn't a crazy idea. Trust me.
Yeah, no, actually, it's a good idea. If we can improve
that, it's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm actually about that.
Sure.
Yeah, I just think it'd be funny because like it'd be marketing. I'm like, yeah, we have 24-hour venue, we have a gym room, and we have a punching bag, and it's just okay. It's like, oh, okay, well, we got a punching bag, let's go. That's like part of the marketing, you know.
Hey, clipping that. O sea, aquí se escuchó esa idea, así, entre Cebes y Consolas acaba de decir que es bueno tener un costal ahí en los torneos presenciales, un punching bag, por si pierdes, vayas y le des chingadazos a la bolsa, ¿no?
En lugar de agarrar al compañero de al lado y luego tiene que regresarse a Asia con el ojo morado y perder el torneo.
Pero yo creo que también tiene que ver un poco tanto la mentalidad como lo cultural. Eso sí afecta mucho, eso, lo cultural, porque por eso muchos vienen con esa idea, o sea, no naces creyendo que así debe ser. Tú te contagias como de lo que me cuentan, por ejemplo, en la comunidad de KOF, No, que los navajeros, que los que te apagan la maquinita,
Es que
los que
esa
no
es
sé
una
qué,
cultura.
es cultural,
Es una
es que es
cultura, sí.
cultural.
Let me
Es
put
que
in context here for KIZZIE. We're talking about cultural stuff here because there is not also manners and also some cultural stuff because here in Mexico, I don't know if you know, but it's King of Fighters country.
Yeah.
For generations here, kids learn first how to play King Fighters,
Yeah,
then
y'all play that
learn.
drag. Y'all play like what is that claw? Y'all are absolutely crazy playing like this. Yeah, I watched somebody do that, and I said, "This is unreal."
This is not, yeah. Well, that was our childhood. It was like that. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of thuggery back then. Because of the cultural stuff, they shut down the machine. They punch you. They try to. They even try to stab you. There is
with a knife,
yeah, yeah.
in their hand.
Wow.
There's a common joke here. Joke. I can say joke.
Joke.
Joke because they went with some ¿cómo se dice trapo, caray? Franela en inglés.
Trapo,
Towel, like a
no
towel,
sé.
like a towel and a knife, and they put the knife on the towel and they try to stab you because you were winning so
Yes.
overwhelming on them. So they got really salty, and they try to stab you, literally stab you. So right now it puts a little context here on the nowadays because they people nowadays get really mad because someone taunts them like a taunt, they teabag them, and the people get
Oh,
really mad.
Oh
um,
yeah. Oh yeah. I
and
know
then
those people.
you you try to get back to those days, and it's like, well, this is not toggery, this is more like trolling, but the result is the same. They get mad, you get the other people mad. And fighting games have that how do you say that in-game in-game how do you say it facility, in-game quality on them, because even games have the taunt built on them. They have the
oh,
taunt.
yeah.
it, it's for taunting the rival. It's the idea of the mechanic to taunt the rival, to get them mad, to get them to stop thinking rationally that it's the worst enemy of any fighting game player, to lose their rationality over the passion of the moment, and it goes to hell.
Because it's part of the strategy. Even if the taunt is there, because it's part of the strategy. So you
But
can.
nobody, well, no todos piensan igual. Eh, por ejemplo, hace tiempo teníamos una plática con Eli, precisamente porque él decía, a mí no me gusta que me hagan taunt. We have a lot of chat with a
Mutual
friend
friend.
here in Mexico. And he told me, I don't like you make the taunt because it's offensive for me. So that's great. I told him, that's great. Thank you to say me that, because if you tell me you don't like it, that's okay. I don't do anything to annoying you. So es complicado, pero por ejemplo, la cultura del KOF en México, ya la gente entiende y ya es como que ¿cómo se dice? Un ambiente que tú sabes que es así. Sí, o sea, sí sabes, o sea, como que la gente en KOF, no toda la gente es agresiva, no toda la gente obviamente se la vive con la navaja en la mano, ¿verdad?
No, claro que se quedó como
Pero,
lo que pasó, ¿no?
exactamente, pero está estigmatizado, ese es el
Ya.
problema, que tienes un estigma que lo traen cargando desde que te gusta, güey, desde el 2002, cuando jugaban la 2002, güey, y estamos en 2022, güey, ¿sabes? En 2021, pues. Pero entiendo yo que muchas veces el hacer o tener esas mecánicas, como ahorita decía Haseo, si está el taunt implícito, obviamente, como parte del personaje, como parte de la mecánica del juego, muchas veces la puedes usar para cuando tienes un problema o ves un match complicado, y a lo mejor el taunt dices, pues pueda servir para poderlo yo, pues no sé, desconcentrar o no sé,
Es
¿verdad?
que es aplicando la misma idea de KIZZIE. It's like the same idea that KIZZIE told us about. if you get too carried by your feelings, you're losing.
Yeah.
So he can do the taunt, and even if you don't like it, you can stop it. So that is not my problem, it's your problem.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like, you know, I always say to myself, like, if you let your emotions like get to the best of you, you don't make good choices, like, because your feelings are random, and it's controlled by whatever the moment you feel. So if you feel randomly disrespected, then your emotions is gonna be like, you're disrespected. What are you gonna do about it? Then you start talking to your pride. You start talking to your ego. It's like, what are you gonna do? You gonna let him do that? You gonna let them do that? You gonna let her do that? And it start boiling up, and then you know, like, it's already bad. Like, I always say to myself, like, if you feel like you're getting to that point, just stop playing.
A ver, dice Akendoru, dice, tradúcenos, no sé quién es el chancla de... Pero estamos hablando acerca de qué tan importante tiene que ser que tú mismo estés tan concentrado en un match tan importante que pues no te tengas que dejar influenciar por ciertas cosas que pueda hacer el otro jugador. Quiero pensar que en resumidas cuentas es...
de ello. Digo, todos tenemos sal, todos nos ha llegado la sal. Lo que dijo KIZZIE, I will put the chat here in context, KIZZIE, for our Spanish talkers, for our Spanish chat. Lo que decía KIZZIE es lo que apunta es no ir hacia la persona, sino en este caso él habla por ejemplo del personaje, o el personaje permite que pase esto, el personaje pasa esto otro, pero no ir directo de, tú eres un idiota, ¿no? O sea, no, a menos que te lleves muy bien con la persona.
Es otra cosa.
Es otra cosa, ya es sal de entre compas, pero si no lo conoces, sí te puedes llevar una desagradable sorpresa de la respuesta de la otra persona y tiene todo el derecho de hacerla, porque te estás cruzando una línea de respeto, ¿no? In philosophy, there is a fallacy, it's called ad hominem. That's when you, instead of attacking an argument, you're attacking the person stating that argument. And I think it's what you said before, right, KIZZIE? Not taking the person, taking the character or the matchup or whatever in the game, but not to the person playing with you.
Okay. KIZZIE, you right now are playing Guilty Gear Strive and Dragon Ball, or?
So I'm playing Guilty Gear Strive. I want to play 15 when it comes out. I play little bit of... Yeah, I'm playing Mr. Cough.
Okay.
Cough.
Okay.
Cough 15.
The cough.
The cough. I'm playing the cough. I'm playing the cough. I'm playing Strive, and I'm playing a little bit of Multi right now. And those are the games that I'm playing right now. Obviously, I still enter other tournaments of games that I used to play to just support. So, you know, but those are the games that, you know, I kind of dabble in right now.
Okay. And what do you think about the Guilty Gear Strive?
I think
honestly.
I think it's I honestly think it's a great game, to be honest with you. It has a lot of aspects that I like, and I like how the aesthetics looks phenomenal. I think it's a phenomenal aesthetics, and I think them doing the rollback netcode justice is like the best thing that I ever seen in my life. However, I don't like how some of the like foundation logic that they go, because I think that long term it's not going to make things enjoyable after 2 years or after 1 year, and I think their way of trying to like keep things like competitive or per se is like it's not going to be healthy at all, because what happened is it also hinders a lot of like growth. It hinders a lot of people who got into Guilty Gear Strive, and let's say for example they wanted to get into a different game, and usually fighting games, if you learn one fighting game, you could take a little bit of that skill to another fighting game. And I feel like because Strive is so unique of its own way, I feel like it's very hard to use Strive and like jump somewhere else. Like I had somebody who never played any fighting game besides Strive. It was like, yo, I started playing Melty Blood type Luminia, and I have some advice. I'm like, what do you do when you put somebody in the corner? And I'm just like, wow, I forgot Strive, you wall break. So like when you keep somebody in the corner, they actually forgot what, like they just don't know what to do. So I had to explain them like, yo, this is what you do. This is the kind of idea that you want to hold, because in this situation, this is very advantageous. And I had to explain that to a person. It was like, oh, I get it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And like, but just the thought of like me having to talk about that, you know, that's such a it's just that's just such a woke question. You know, I was just like, oh, I completely forgot this is your first fighting game, and this is something that you're down into. So little things like that, I feel like it's not great in terms of like making certain things like making things what's the word kind of like a slap on the wrist of like you don't have to learn this, you just have fun. And like I understand like having fun is a huge priority, but I also think it's important too like having fun and like learning an aspect of something that you're telling people to play is also enjoyable too. And that would be like the biggest thing. Like for example, there's a lot of like things that nobody can't really explain what works. It's like, you know, we don't understand the wall system. I still don't understand the wall system. You know, sometimes I'm thinking that this is gonna break the wall and then it doesn't, and it can mess up the combo, or it can mess up somebody momentum. And I feel like because it's such a luck factor like system of how it works or when it's going to break, it really makes people play a certain way and be very cautious, and it makes it complicated in a way where we don't understand it because it doesn't make sense. And I think that and I think high damage are the two things that my biggest issue out of everything. I think everything else is fine, and I like change, and I'm open to change. But I think those two things, personally, it's going to hinder it long term because it's hard for people to learn when you die in one hit. Now, if we already, so I look at it like this, and I'm all about using things that make sense, right? Like if you're gonna make a mechanic, make it make sense. I don't care if it's something that I may not like, as long as it makes sense, I'm okay with that. But what I don't like about this specific aspect of the game is like you make the game focus on high damage, but then there's risk gauge where if you block, you naturally do high damage, and then when you break the wall, you get a system bonus called positive bonus that not only buff your damage 10 more percent, defense 10%, and also you get more meter. So I'm just like, so you basically just made him like a brute, like he's a brute, you know, like. Any touch, you just explode, and then all it does is it benefits characters that already hit hard. And not notice that all of the characters that are most people that really don't like playing are well-rounded characters with big damage, and it's all because of like all of that aspect into one thing creates that flaw where it's hard to learn because you die in one hit. It's hard to make learn about risk reward because of high damage. But when you take that away and then you think about everything else, the game is great because I like the aesthetics. I like how the mechanics work. I like the Roman cancel. I think the Roman cancel is the most beautiful system in any Guilty Gear. You know, I like the direction that they're starting to go where they're adding a little bit more of air combos, air routes. I really like that. I think a lot of characters are starting to, like a character like Anji, like he looks different and cooler because all they did was just add more gaplings into the game. And I was like, that's a great aspect where a character that felt so locked in now has more freedom and like different aspects to like do stuff. And
like what creative you can be with him.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think that you know, adding like damage just being too high, you don't even get a chance to learn anything. Better yet, you don't even get a chance to listen to how amazing some of the music sound, because some of the best songs, it takes like 5 minutes to get started. And like you definitely ain't gonna be playing somebody in Stride for 5 minutes. You ain't fighting Nago for 5 minutes. At best, you probably get out of the intro in 1 minute. And it's like, you know, to add all of that damage, like I understand why they did it. And I think, I mean, Guilty Gear always had high damage. Like Rev 2 had high damage. But that was when the risk gauge, you know, the risk gauge added high damage. Now it's high damage on top of risk gauge. And it's on top of positive bonus. You know, it's like all of these aspects. It's like, I was like, guts don't even matter. You know, like at that point, guts don't really matter. So it's like all those things that I be like, yo, I feel like everything is great, but that aspect is so tunnel vision where it makes it like hard for new players and old players to like get past that hurdle because it takes one mistake. And you know, we all human. We're eventually going to make a mistake anyway. But why is it when you make one, it's the end of it? You get what I'm saying? Like, why is it the end of it? Why can't it be like 4 mistakes? You know, like 4 mistakes. Or if you build a risk high enough, you know, you do nice damage, but you still get a chance. You know, you still get a chance, but it's still high damage. So I just think that their logic of adding all these little variables of high damage doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like, what's the point of having 99 seconds on the clock at that point? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of things that I ask questions. And the wall system too. Like, for example, I feel like it's very hard to like optimize your combos because you don't know when the wall's gonna break. So it's like, I wish something like visually would be able to tell me. And those are the two aspects that I think that are the biggest things that I dislike. But everything about it, bro, I like the aesthetics, RC. I like the neutral. It is more ground based, which is really cool.
Yep.
And I really like a lot of like the interactions that when you do get those interactions, it's really nice. You know what I'm saying? I really like the slow pace of it because it does play a slow pace, but it's slow because nobody wants to die. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not slow because like the game is slow. It's slow because like we don't want to lose. We don't want to explode. You know, or like a move is so absurdly fast that you don't want to get put in this situation. I like those aspects. And one thing that I also like too, that a lot of people don't talk about, is I feel like a lot of characters, they have like a unique, way of like getting their win condition, for example, right? Like, you know, like Eddie is like, oh, if I get the oppose out, it's go time. So it kind of still feels like that Guilty Gear feel, where like you kind of have to play a certain way against a certain character, and it feels like a bit different. Now, the only thing that don't feel different is when you fight the characters with high damage. You know, you're always gonna put you in that same situation, and that's where everything falls down. But everything else is, I enjoy it with a passion, and you know, I hope they continue on updating this game and adding cool features and things like that. And you know, all I ask for Santa this year for Christmas is yo nerf that damage, man.
Please.
You know? Yeah, I wrote it in the Santa letter. I gave him cookies. I got him some milk. You know, I got oat milk. So, you know, like, so hopefully Santa, you know, listens to my wishes. You know,
Give us the damage.
Yeah. But overall, you know, that's my biggest thing. And another thing too is like, I feel like also because of the like high damage being like that, just being so absurdly high, is I feel like some characters, they always are going to be like, they're always going to be there. Like those characters are always going to be the same. No matter how you change those characters, they're always going to be strong because that aspect is so there. And it makes people, it's hard to learn because you're like, I don't want to get hit, so I don't want to take the risk of learning, you know, because I just want to try to win. And it brings a bad mentality. And I've watched people who are coming in new to the game, and they rely on damage a lot, and like, you know, they played another game, they got really discouraged, and I had to sit there and talk to them for like a 1 hour. I was like, bro, like, it's okay, like, you're learning something new, and you have to learn that this thing that you relied on so much doesn't work here, and you have to like focus on this. And they actually, you know, took it in, and they're learning slowly, but like again, it taught something that it's like a false narrative, you know. It's like, oh, I did really well here, and it's like, yeah, you did well, but you know, you also hit the person one time, you know, like you also hit them one time, so like it's hard, you know, it's a hard balance to like learn whether something's good or bad, you know. So it's a hard process, but I believe once people give feedback and people continue on, you know, talk about these little things and just what's healthy, I think artists is going to be like, okay, well, maybe we're going to set the damage a little bit low. Like, I'm not asking for like a 50% damage nerf. Like, I want risk gauge to still work the way it does, right? Like, because it's risk gauge. I don't want them to change risk gauge.
Balance.
But regular hit, I want to at least feel like it's a regular hit. I feel like some characters, they hit me, I feel like my risk gauge was at 100. You know what I'm saying? Like,
damn,
yeah. So, you know, but yeah, that's cool.
I just want to know another question for KIZZIE. Who is your main character in Guilty Gear?
If you really want to know my honest opinion, my main Guilty Gear are 3 characters. 4 characters. 3 characters. four characters.
Wow.
Yeah, so I play Kai, Sol, Zato, and Nagoriyuki. And those are the 4 characters I'm going to play when offline starts officially, and I get into like the offline world tour. But as for now, I play Kai exclusively online because I'm generally trying to learn every matchup, and I'm trying to learn a lot about the game, and learn a lot about just like trying to like understand like what Arcs is trying to like build, and I'm trying to like master like that type of try to master mechanics, you know, like be like a student to the game.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to learn everything, and I feel like Kai is a good character to like learn all of it because he plays a unique game of kind of what Guilty Gear, what they want to strive to be, but it kind of doesn't work like that because, you know, like characters like Leo is not going to do what you're doing. Yeah. So, but I'm trying to learn it anyway, and it's fun, dude. And he's actually a super enjoyable character. But again, because it's online and I'm not really like a online player, it's very hard for me to play in that environment. I just play for fun, and I just want to learn. But once offline hits and like, you know, offline, like they'd be like, oh, Art Tour 2022 offline at these events. Oh, best believe I'm playing the samurai sword. I'm playing the bad guy that everybody hates, and I'm playing, you know, Zato for the shadows, and I'm playing Kai because Kai's cool. So
you made Haseo smile there.
Yeah.
Pero ¿quién es Nago? ¿Quién es Nago? Porque estoy leyendo muchos comentarios de...
El samurái.
El samurái vampiro.
Ah, ok. Es que están diciendo, es que Nerf Nago y Nerf Nago que están...
Opinión de noob, sí, Nerf Nago, pero no sé, creo que es una opinión noob, no sé si en top players opinen lo mismo. A mí me cuesta mucho trabajo lidiar con Nago, soy un Potemkin main. I'm telling KIZZIE to the chat that really nerf Nago because as a noob player, for example with me with Potemkin, I can't reach the guy. I can't.
Like it's funny because when Arxis be like, yeah, we did this for new players. I'm like, bro, Nago's about to kill these new players. Like, I just think of like Anakin when he went to the temple with the children. And you know how you see the cutscene where there was like Mr. Skywalker, and you just seen the lightsaber come on, and then the next scene, and then you go back to the temple, all the kids were just laying out there asleep.
All of the 66.
Yeah, like that was Nago going into the Potemkin temple. You know,
I was talking with Haseo right here before the interview because I just reached Celestial, and I just discovered Celestial rank doesn't mean a shit in this game because they pulverize. Everyone passed over me. Everyone. I took like a week to get to Celestial playing almost daily, and I got bounced back to level 6, level 4 in the matter of like 15 minutes. It was like, oh, I suck at this game. I really suck at this game.
Yeah, man.
Pero o sea, si yo quiero jugar Guilty Gear, puedo agarrar a Nago y decir, ya sé jugar Guilty Gear.
Mira, escoge.
O sea, así de brainless está Nago o qué?
No. Tienes que escoger un personaje que cubra mayor parte de los matchups. Es lo que entiendo yo. Algo que sea más round up. Am I right, KIZZIE? An all-rounded character like Kai will be an all-rounded character mostly.
Yeah. I mean, I question the Arxis difficulty star level. They gotta they gotta change that. They be lying to people. Yeah,
they lied to me. They told me Potemkin was a good character. It's a good character, but with some really bad matchups.
Yeah, and the thing is about it is like they try to compensate of like, oh, this is a bad matchup, but guess what? If you hit them one time, you die. And I'm just like, well, you don't really teach. It's hard to teach the matchup because everybody mindset is like, yo, Lord, if you hearing me today, give me that one hit. Give me that one hit, Lord.
No, come on.
Give me that one hit, please. And then you be like, Lord, like, please, I'm about to do something that's like minus 65 on block. Please put something in his eye and don't let him punish us. Please. You start playing like that. You start praying.
Oiga, pero entonces todos los jugadores de Sol ahora están sintiendo lo que sentían todos los demás, ¿no? Me imagino, porque no decían que el Sol estaba roto en su momento.
Sigue estando muy pesado, no lo considero roto como los demás, pero sigue siendo pesado, sigue siendo muy bueno Sol.
Pero, o sea, ahorita el broken es Nago.
Who do you think is the brokest character right now, KIZZIE?
Ramathal.
Ram.
Ram?
Yes,
Thank you for
Ram
that.
actually has
Fucking
created.
damn swords.
You know, Ram has actually created the word broken in terms of like she took the definition of broken to the next level. Like
Yeah.
Really?
she actually broke the definition. That's how broken she is. She broke the definition.
Jesus
The
She
Christ,
comes to the
definition.
definition of broken.
Yeah. I actually think she is strong. She is the strongest right now for 3 reasons. One, I feel like she don't really have a lot of characters that beat her consistently. Two, I feel like her damage across the board is insanely high. And three, she don't have a resource to hold her back
Yeah.
like Nago does. Like even though Nago is the second best, he has a mechanic that slightly holds him back.
the blood
Ram
rage.
knows.
Yeah, with
Ram
the
doesn't.
blood gauge. Yeah, Ram. She has 2 swords, and you could throw that shit anytime you want, and it's gonna come back. Yeah, and most of the time, the moment you throw it in the corner, it comes back instantly.
And poor of you if you press a button on a frame trap because you are dead. Basically, it starts the damage, and then you get on a 50 and it goes.
And
And
it's
you're done.
downhill. Yeah, I think.
Oye, pero yo estoy perdido porque no sé nada de Guilty Gear, güey. Me siento hasta mal.
La que usa Kusanagi, la chava que usa Kusanagi, la de las espadotas, que flota.
Ajá.
Ram
Sí, ya, lo
era
ubico.
fuerte, pero I think, casi puedes corregirme ahí, después del parche, Ram sí subió, ¿no? Por lo que entendí por las correcciones que hicieron al juego.
No, de todos modos, Ram se mantuvo. O sea, Ram siempre, incluso
Sí.
de cuando salió Strive, porque lo que está diciendo básicamente KIZZIE Kay, por más personaje fuerte que haya, Ram realmente no gasta nada. O sea, no tiene que gastar, y ni siquiera las espadas así tocan la pared, se pueden recuperar, o sea, y eso también más o menos era Sol antes del parche. O sea, realmente no tenía casi nada que gastar Sol, y que realmente, aunque Nago es muy bueno, sí tiene nada más ese pequeño detalle que es el Blood Rage, que cuando carga la barra roja, tiene que entrar en ese estado y se baja rápido su vida. Entonces sí, actually, tienes que estar buscando el Blood Sucking Universe, tienes que estar controlando esa mecánica, o sea, no te puedes aventar a lo loco.
Sí.
Y Ram y Sol, sí.
Pero mira, dice algo el Capi, dice, people thought Soul was top tier because they couldn't do wake up throw, Cap. No sé, o sea, ¿te levantas con el wake up throw o cómo? No entiendo yo. Es que no entiendo las mecánicas de Guilty Gear, la verdad. Sí, ¿cómo? ¿Qué pasó?
I was saying Soul was good for different reasons.
Okay.
When the game first came out, we didn't have a lot of Gatling options in the air. Our jump heavy slash wasn't jump cancelable and things like that. And on top of that, Soul had a lot of crazy, insane damage off his specials, and his specials were outrightly strong. And then on top of that, he had a lot of the 6P wall bouncing, like things like that, making your clean hit DP just always connect with no effort. So there was a lot of things about Soul why he was strong, and then no pushback on his far slash, and if you FD him out, he gets 2 more frames of block stun. So not only that he's +2, he's +4 from a far slash for a far standing S button. There was a lot of things that made him very strong, and then on top of that, he also had well-rounded anti-airs. He had well-rounded air combos, jump K, jump D, wall bouncing all the way from Texas. Like I wish I had a wall bounce jump dust like that. I always dream for that. Maybe I should ask Santa if they could give me that, But, as far as everything else, but yeah, like a lot of well-rounded stuff. But as they kind of like opened up the Gatlings, they also changed the character a lot. And I still think Soul is like one of the like top 5 strong characters. But what they did to Ram and Nago is like it's like wow, it's like wow. That's impressive that you said you want this game to be for newcomers and you make those characters the way they are. And I'm like, I was like, anybody new to this game is not going to like Ram, besides Ram players.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we can wait for the next patch. So maybe a Hail Mary there for.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, believe it or not, like there's always going to be some top tier characters, which I'm okay with. What I'm not okay with is allowing these characters in a game where it's high damage like that to be able to do so much. Like, they have a lot of options. And it's okay to have a lot of options if the damage was just normalized. Because now you could play around that. You could take risk and play around that. But some people are just like, oh man, Nago just command grab me? Well, I'm just going to sit here and pray to God he don't hit me. Up, he command grab me again. Up, I got to swing. Yeah. Beyblade, DP, oh, you lost the game. Because all it takes is one hit. And it's like, how can you make smart decisions? You know, how can you do things like that? So, you know, it's just one of those things where, again, I think people just need to be taught to give Arxis feedback, and I hope Arxis hear them out. I'm sure they are, and you know, they make these type of changes. Honestly, like, you know, if you want to keep the characters the same and not change the game, but it's like, you know, normalize damage. That's all I ask. I mean, risk gauge is never going to change, so that'd be okay. Yeah, I want risk gauge to remain the same because risk gauge is going to play a huge factor now. Because now, if somebody's blocking, you're like, oh, I'm going to build your risk gauge. And then the next hit is going to be nice, you know?
Yeah, I agree. For a better balance overall on the game. I agree on that. ¿Tienes otra pregunta, Has?
Ah, ¿no les ibas a preguntar tú de King of Fighters?
Sí. Antes de entrar aquí en esta parte. Okay. I wanted to ask you, KIZZIE, about your experience on King of Fighters 15 on the beta. I was watching your stream. I already know more or less your opinion on that, but for the chat, for the guys here, your perspective on King of Fighters 15. How do you feel it?
Oh man, like I was like, oh wow, this is like KOF 14, but like a fleshed out version of KOF 14. And I was like, this is great. Because I always thought KOF 14 was a good game. I just hated the fact that the whole game was about blah, 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 EX the whole time. And then, like, that game also had high damage, by the way. So, like, so, like, that game was like blah, 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 EX, blah, 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 and you just did like 700 damage. You're like, what? All you did was do like a crouch short like 3 times, and I take like 80%? And then I'm just like, bro, like any character, like every character that was in that game, I just felt like it was just blah, blah, blah into EX. And I was like, man, this is like so terrible because the whole game is based off like kicks. Like if your kick is good, chances are you're gonna be a good character. So guess what kick who was good? Benimaru, the biggest toes in America, bro. Like he was out there just crouch kicking into EX and got a command grab, so you got time to not drop your combo and things like that. So, you know, I was really happy with the version that we have now because now, I don't know if you noticed, but it feels very hard to build meter.
Yeah.
And I like that. That was something that I freaking like. I was like, yes, it's hard to build meter, so that means that you have to be really smart with your meter. And then also,
you have to think.
Yeah, you have to think a lot about like the decision making and things like that. And I really enjoy that aspect. I was like, yes, I like that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like having a lot of meter in 15, you can still die in one combo. Like, but the thing is about it, the effort of getting to that meter is what I care about. So like, if you got there, that means that for sure that you did it. You saved the meter. You didn't just like build the meter just by like spinning it. You saved the meter. You're like, okay, I'm gonna save it for this and things like that. And I like that max mode costs 2 bars now. So that means that if you're gonna go into max mode, it's expensive. Like you're doing an expense. So I really like that a lot. I like the game, but man, that rollback netcode was actually terrible. I was like, bro,
it was horrible.
Bro, I was like, there's no way somebody hit the enter button and allow people to download this beta. I was like, bro, the rollback was terrible. It was so bad that like me and my chat, we started calling it roll forward. Yeah, it was a roll forward netcode. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a time where I was playing and I had -1 rollback. Yeah, and it was -1 rollback, and I couldn't move. So I was pressing everything. I was like, yo, why can't I move? And every 5 seconds, the character moved like what I did like whatever minutes ago. And I was like, bro, this is roll forward netcode. We're at -1 rollback. I was like, it's crazy.
That's weird. Well, I think we can have a good netcode if they put attention to fixing that because it uses GGPO, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
And GGPO is a very solid, good rollback netcode. So maybe they have to adjust something on the netcode on their side.
Yeah, so people already found out. So most people who are I call them rollbackians. So most of the rollbackians in America, they already know what's the problem is, and they say it's an easy fix. It's all up to SNK right now.
Okay. Okay. I hope SNK hears us, because that is the base for any fighting game right now. Because of the online scene, you need to have a good netcode, and it's the base for a good launch.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that game a lot. That game has a lot of purpose. Like again, like a lot of the system mechanics have good purposes. Like EX meter costing a half bar, but again, a lot of your big things comes with 2 bars.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of options with 1 bar too. So if you get 1 bar, you can do like a sick combo, and you can do like Shatter Strike. And even though you cost like damage, you get half a bar. You spend half a bar, which is technically like an EX, but you get like a nice extension. You may not get a lot of damage, but you get like a nice setup. And I just feel like things like that is like it makes you see different things all the time. You know, like a lot of characters who are like point characters are going to be like build up meter characters. They have like good purposes in, or like characters who are in the middle. They're like, all right, I got a lot of meter, I'm gonna spin, and things like that. Like they're gonna have like it's gonna have like a lot of strategy. And that's why I'm really excited for the game.
Okay, I think we can agree. We're gonna all agree that KOF 15 has that creativity on mind for us, no? Because of the Star Strike, all the mechanics, how they combine, how you have to think on a strategy for building meter right now that KOF 14 didn't have. You just like you said,
it was just like blah
EX.
blah blah EX, and then if you die, you got a bar, and it was like, well, there you go.
It was brain dead on that side, but I
Damage,
think they
damage
learned.
was high too. Yeah, damage was too high too.
Yeah.
I think you got the term right. It's like a really fleshed out version of KOF 14 right
Yeah,
now.
which is great because I actually thought 14 neutral was good. I actually thought 14 neutral was very very good. I liked it, the pace, things like that. It was easy for people to like get into the game because it was not that fast, like crazy.
Yeah,
But
because you jump for KOF 13, that was a really fast paced
short hop,
game.
short hop, that short hop was crazy. Like some characters' short hops were like, bro, they just look like a grasshopper. It was so small. So I think it was really so it's really good to see them like keep that type of formula for new players, and also like people who just want to who like it too. And like I said, I thought it was a great like system. It just needed some help, and it got all the help from 15.
Okay, we have our hopes on there. For the last question of the night, we have a chat question from Mike, our friend Mike here. Also, kudos to Mike. What do you think of the new Riot fighting game?
Oh, I think the new Riot fighting game is going to do something very interesting, and I think it's going to do a lot of good things. I think the Riot fighting game right now is a great direction, and the reason why I say it's going to be great because I feel like it's going to set the standard for like what netcode is going to be for all games. But I'm also afraid that because the way Riot is creating like this new style of fighting game, and I think it's going to blow up. But I think companies from all over the world are not going to understand why it's so successful. So what I think is going to happen is everybody's going to be like, oh, we should just make all of our games like this. And it becomes a trend where everybody's just copying each other. And I'm afraid that's going to happen. But
like
I'm also
the Smash Brothers Melee trend right now, because with all the Smash
exactly. So, but I think Project L is about to change the game in terms of like rollback netcode. Like netcode is about to change the game. So that means that because of that, we might see actual offline tournaments that are like at least a bit stable, and I'm hoping that that's the case. And then also too, I just think like the character designs. If you look at the shading, the animations look so good.
Yeah.
And I think it almost looked like Arxis a little bit. So so I think like when the game is like released, bro, this game about to be looking beautiful. And the crazy part is from the Western style, so like it's even great. So that means we get to communicate more. And like I said, the people who are directing the game are from the fighting game scene. Everybody. So that's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that. Seo, Felo, ¿hay que comentar para cerrar?
No, nada más.
Just my final question. What do you think about Happy Chaos?
Oh, Happy Chaos is sick. I actually think he's cool as hell. Honestly, Happy Chaos reminds me of like Batman getting out of bed. They actually have a lot of related. Like it's actually Batman off the bed. That's what it feels like. But I think Happy Chaos is going to be really, really sick. And I think the cool thing about Happy Chaos, in my opinion, is I feel like his playstyle looks different from like everybody else. So I'm just hoping that we see some like new stuff, like some new gameplay, and change the flow of the match and like do some cool stuff. That's what I care about.
Oh, and we hope we don't see Elfeld back. Not for now, at least.
Oh no, maybe in 2 years. Maybe let me get mentally ready for Elfeld. Yeah, I'm not ready right now. I'm not mentally ready. I've been in a pandemic. Give me like 2 more years. Let me smell the roses outside peacefully. No snipers and the things like that.
Please.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. What about biking? Please.
And biking and strive in this game would be so messed up because we don't even have a lot of Gatlins to begin with. So I just feel like the moment Biking sees something, she gonna parry us. I'm just gonna have to hear the big old counter hit and take so much damage. So I'm like, bro, if they release Biking right now, bro, she's gonna be so good. Maybe release Biking in like another year.
Please.
Yeah, like those type of characters, like
That's it. Not a chance.
Yeah, I'm just like that's too much mentally, bro.
Okay. Felo,
Cool.
¿algo?
No, nada más. Thank you, Casey, for being here. It's a honor having you here tonight. Esto iba a ser como que una entrevista nada más, pues no un en vivo, pero gracias a toda la gente que se dio la vuelta. La verdad es que fue una agradable sorpresa que varias personas estuvieran aquí pasando a saludar a Casey. Esta entrevista, como saben ustedes, la vamos a subir al canal de YouTube para que ahí la puedan apreciar. Yo quedé totalmente impresionado con el invitado. Honestamente,
Sí.
yo no sé nada, no sé mucho nada, como dicen por ahí, de Guilty Gear, pero realmente Casey como persona, de verdad, banda, si pueden tomarse la molestia de poder ver la entrevista, vale mucho la pena lo que él nos platicó al principio. Es otro nivel de mentalidad, otro nivel de persona que obviamente siento yo que es una persona que es tan agradable platicar con él, y la verdad es que vale la pena que se den la vuelta para ver la entrevista. Y pues nada, mi querido Gama, yo la verdad muy agradecido, honestamente me voy muy contento con nuestro invitado del día de hoy, güey.
Perfecto. No, Felo, gracias a ti. Y pues no sé, para despedirnos aquí de KIZZIE. KIZZIE, thank you a lot for being here. It really means a lot for us. Felo was just thanking you for the first part of the show, of that human facts about the game and the psychology and the psychology.
Yeah.
We are really grateful. You got us a really deep impression of you as a human being, not only as a player. So
thank you
a lot, man.
Thank you. I mean, obviously, when I was young, I was a knucklehead. So, I mean, it took a long time to get to where I'm at today. Definitely didn't wake up. I didn't come out of my mom's womb just like, yo, look, what's good? I know everything. Like, I definitely took a lot of like self-reflection and stuff like that. And I'm just grateful that I have the mind to be able to process things how I process. And just be able to just make these type of decisions and like just think the way I think. I'm very grateful. I mean, it's heavy. It's a very heavy experience, but it's something that I feel like I got to be responsible for it, right? But again, thank you guys so much. I'm sorry that I went on a rant.
No. It was great. It was fucking
excellent.
Great.
Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody. I thank you guys for not only inviting me, but also, supporting me in however you guys do. I appreciate that so much. It really goes a long way. And it means the world to me that people that are actually supporting me and, really just paying their time and like watching my stuff or like supporting me and like subbing to me or whatnot. It means a lot to me, even though it may not seem it does, but it really do. And I just want to take the time and say thank you guys, from the Mexico scene and just the Latin scene in general. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys are overwhelmed by the things that I said.
We are.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Okay, and good, because one of the things I always say is like I want to have like a good impression of like who I am, because not everybody really knows who I am outside of like me playing, right? So I feel like I want everybody to actually get who I am rather than just
a little taste
me,
of you.
Yeah, me rather than me just playing Kai. I actually people that want to know who is behind this gamer tag. So I'm just glad that people took the time to come here. I'm glad you guys took the time to interview me, to kind of really get to know a little bit about me, because I'm human too. So it means a lot to me.
Yeah. Thank
Mike Safit, he wants to know, when's KIZZIE in Mexico?
Aren't you guys having a tournament not too pretty soon? It's happening in what? It was like a local or monthly or like a big event that got announced like next month.
Yo creo que no sé si tú sepas del evento,
It's like-
porque el último
it's
que
like-
fue de Guadalajara.
Yeah, it happened this Sunday.
This
This
Sunday.
Friday. Yeah, the AFR.
AFL Guadalajara tournament, but it was like a startup tournament for Collins something like that. Captain Sig was there. Captain Sig is in the chat. If you can, the AFS, but it was more of how do you say it? Not private, but
okay.
Because of the pandemic, it was like
Limited.
a try. Yeah, a try and to see if people would go that to an how do you say it, face-to-face
Offline tournament.
Yeah.
offline tournament. Yeah, to an offline tournament again.
Well, I hope you guys bring what's that event that happen every year? That happens in September.
Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
Thunderstruck in Monterrey. Yes.
Yeah. If you guys bring that back next year, I would definitely. I always wanted to come out there in Mexico because I just like going out all over the world, and I'm a very like earthling person, so like just being out places and just being in like different cultures, it just makes me feel more safe. So just in terms of like my mind, like I feel at peace. So I definitely want to go out there and play. And so if it happens, I would definitely be there next year.
Okay,
Awesome.
that's great.
Well, for Thunderstruck, you are even on a side note. Fellow Felipe here, Shizu, is one of the founding members of the tournament.
A little time ago. But it's happening in September. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well,
Yes.
I guess I'll see you guys in September then. Well, there you
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
For sure.
Surprise!
For sure.
Surprise!
Thank you.
Also, and just a quick question, KIZZIE. Can we tag you on the Twitter for the interview when we post tomorrow the interview on YouTube?
Yeah, just message me privately because I definitely don't be on social media all the time. Because I just be focusing on like mental, like my mind, stuff like that.
No, I know you're okay.
And I got so much to focus on. So just message me privately so I can see. I at least see that notification when I can see it, and then I retweet it, and then go ahead and tag me.
I was
Thank
asking
you.
because of the sponsorships, because I know there are some things that you can't do on social media. So I wanted to ask.
Well, are we sponsored by something?
No,
I see you guys. I see you guys with like HyperX and stuff. So actually, that technically helps me out. But in terms of like any sponsorships, this is something. Panda is always about like the community. So if it's anything like community related things, like they don't care what I do. You know, they, as long as it's like, I mean, obviously they care. They will, like, if I do something like this, they will encourage me to do it. But in terms of like, you know, supporting you guys by like retweeting and stuff, that they will like that more. So like they will like things like this more. So yeah,
okay.
like, so it's not even like a problem. It's cool.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bueno.
That's it for
Pues
today.
señores.
Thanks a lot. Gracias, Gaseo. Sisu.
Un placer,
KIZZIE,
chicos.
Thank you, man.
Yep.
It means a lot.
Thank you, KIZZIE. Have a good
Thank
night.
You guys
Señores,
have a
pues
good
ahora
night
sí.
too.
Ahora sí, pues señores, gracias por estar aquí este martesitos. Nos vemos el jueves. El jueves va a haber programa, ¿verdad, mi querido Gama? Jueves habitual.
Si todo sale bien, sí.
Bueno. Entonces, pues nos vemos el próximo jueves, señores. Gracias por estar aquí. Pasen una bonita y feliz noche. Abrigaditos y abrazados.
Peace out, guys.
Nos vemos. Bye.
Bye.